Why, hello, and all that good stuff. My name is Allie, and I am the Chaotic Reader. This is where I talk about book things. So today I am doing the Bookternet All-Stars Charity Challenge, otherwise known as the Have I Read These BookTube Darlings. Rachael Marie is running this. She started the whole thing. Okay, calm down. Rachael Marie is running this. She started the whole tag thing. For each person who does a video or a post doing this charity challenge, she is donating €1 to a charity pot, up to €75 because no one has a ton of money right now, except for, rich people. There is also a charity pot that you can donate to, which if you have even €1 you can donate. I urge you to do so because every little bit right now really helps. If you don't have the money though, definitely don't feel like you have to. You can retweet things, you can post your own thing, just spread the word. I'm just gonna go ahead and get into Have I Read These BookTube Darlings? First we have Angie Thomas, and no, I have not read any books by her. I do not own any books by her. She wrote The Hate You Give and On the Come Up, which are two stories involving Black main characters and issues as well. I'm not sure if I want to read these just because they don't sound like they would necessarily be for me. I might try to read The Hate You Give, but On the Come Up doesn't sound like my cup of tea. But it's one of those things where I'm almost worried about not liking the books because I feel like they are important reads and they talk about important issues. But since I'm not sure if they're for me, it makes me a little questionable on whether I should even pick them up. But I do want to read The Hate You Give at some point because I know that one specifically deals with some very important issues, and that one is one that is more up my alley than the other one. Then we have the Shatter Me series. I've actually never read anything by Tahereh Mafi. The only book I have by her is Furthermore, which is a middle grade. I don't know if I want to read the Shatter Me series. I think I actually own the first book, but I'm pretty sure it's in my unhaul pile because I don't really intend to read it. I hear such mixed things, and I have so many series that I want to read that one I kind of just put aside and figured I'm just not going to bother with. If you think there's a reason that I should read it, I can put that book back on my shelf. I haven't got rid of it yet, but it's one that I'm pretty unsure about. Now we're moving into the section where I tore my shelves apart for this, and we have Leigh Bardugo, which I own 5 books by her, and I have read 3 of them. I read the entire Shadow and Bone, the Grishaverse trilogy here, with Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. I thought these were okay. I liked some of the characters, I liked the world, but overall, they were just like 3-star reads for me, and honestly, Ruin and Rising is the bane of my existence. I could probably do a whole rant video on how I just really didn't like this book, how I didn't like anything that happened in it, and how it just made me very angry. But overall, not a bad series. I think it's worth reading. It definitely is written like older YA, but I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. It just wasn't the greatest in my opinion. I've read better YA fantasy series. Then we have Six of Crows, which I haven't read, but I've heard is better than the original Grishaverse trilogy, so I'm excited to give this one a read because I did like the world, I did like her writing, I just didn't love a lot of things going on in the Grishaverse. And Mal, I'm one of those people, yes, I hate him. But I'm excited to read this one. And then I also own Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which is her first adult fantasy, and I'm excited to give this one a read at some point as well. Then we have The Cruel Prince. I own all 3 books in this series, but I've only read The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King. I don't know why in the heck I haven't gotten to Queen of Nothing yet. I need to read it. I bought it when it first came out, and it's still just sitting here. But I did really love The Cruel Prince. I just thought that it was a really fun read. It's not a super, I would say, like in-depth world-building fantasy. It's more about relationships and drama than it is a full fleshed-out fantasy world. But I actually thought that was okay. I still really enjoyed it, and I just love how freaking horrible everyone in this series is. I'm here for that. Then we have The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco, which I don't know anything about at all. I've heard of it here and there, but I Haven't read it, don't know if I want to read it. Next on the list is V.E. Schwab. I own 3 of her books and I've only read 1 of them. The only one that I've read is A Darker Shade of Magic. I did really enjoy this. I would like to continue the series, but I just haven't. Then I own Vicious, which is probably the one I'm most excited to read because it's about villains. And This Savage Song, which I don't know a lot about. I just bought it because it was V.E. Schwab, and I definitely buy books because of hype. Let's continue with the trend of owning hyped books I haven't read. Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Now, I only own the first in this series, but I have not read it. I have not read anything by Marissa Meyer. I actually also own Renegades by her, and I haven't read that either. So, yeah, this is a Cinderella retelling. Every book in this series is a retelling of a fairy tale, except sci-fi-ish. I have been unsure about actually picking this up because I just don't know if it's going to be for me. But then I've heard some people say that they really did like it. It's just more of a fun, fast read. So not to expect anything too deep about it, I guess. Moving on to Adam Silvera. I don't actually know what many of his books are. The only one I own is They Both Die at the End. I was supposed to read this in April. I did not. I got a little ways into it, but then I just realized that I was so behind. The month had become such a mess, and I had other things I really needed to finish. So I didn't end up reading this in April. It's not on my May TBR, but I do really want to get to it. I made it like a third of the way in, and I really was enjoying it, but I just put it down. It wasn't something I was in the mood for right then and there, and I have so much stuff I need to finish. Okay, Cassandra Clare. I own none of her books. I don't want to own any of her books. I did own the Mortal Instruments for a short period of time, but they are unhauled. I don't want to read them. I read, I think, the first one in middle school and really liked it, but then I didn't ever continue the series, and at this point, I just think I'm past the point I could enjoy them. I think it was last year I did try to read City of Bones, and I could not get into it. It just wasn't something I could enjoy at this point in time, and with all of the books in the series, I just don't see the point in trying to force myself to get into it. I've heard that if you skip the first trilogy, that you might actually enjoy the Infernal Devices, I think they're called. I've been debating on it, but I don't really know if it's worth it. Then we've got The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and oh boy, do I love this book. This is the book that got me thinking I could read contemporary and things other than fantasy, and this is true. This book is just fantastic. It makes me believe that the girl in here actually exists. I can go look up her life, but it's not there. It's not on the internet because she doesn't exist. This is about Evelyn Hugo and her 7 husbands, and she is speaking to a reporter telling her her life story, and people want to know which of her 7 husbands was the one that she loved the most. This book is just fantastic, and I like Taylor Jenkins Reid as well. I didn't like Daisy Jones and the Six as much as everyone else did. I think this one was far, far superior. Next we have Laini Taylor, and I have Strange the Dreamer. I also have Muse of Nightmares, but it's sitting somewhere else, and Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I've read Strange the Dreamer. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I love the lyrical writing. I love everything that went on in here. This was probably one of my favorite books from last year, and I'm really excited to read Muse of Nightmares. I haven't picked up this series yet. For some reason, this one just doesn't interest me quite as much, but I do love her writing, so I would like to pick this up at some point. Then we have Illuminae, and I don't own it. I did read it. I read it from a library book. It was good. I didn't love it as much as other people do. I would like to continue the series though, because it's a very fun read with all the mixed media and everything. It reads a lot faster than you would think for a book of its size. So I probably will read the rest of those at some point. Let's just continue to call me out on my terrible reading habits. The Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. Okay, so I've read the first 2, and again, I've owned the tool since it came out and have not read it, because this is just how I go with series. I will read it eventually, but I haven't got to it yet. So this is another one of those that I'm sorry that my reading habits are total shit. There you go. Oh boy, we're hopping right into my bad reading habits right again. Okay. Sarah J. Maas. I adore her. I haven't read the last book. This seems to be an ongoing trend here, isn't it? Okay, so I've read A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury. I have not read A Court of Wings and Ruin. It's been on my TBR a couple times and I haven't read it yet. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I do adore these books. I also have a special edition of Throne of Glass. I haven't read any of this series. For some reason, I'm hesitant about reading the series, and I don't know why that is. I love her writing, I love her romance, but I've just been putting off picking up this series. I also have A House of Earth and Blood, the first in the Crescent City series. I really want to get to this one, but its size has just been putting me off because I have so many other big books that I've been reading lately, but I do really want to read this one sometime within the next couple months. More books I haven't read but own: An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night. I only own these two in the series and I haven't picked up either of them yet. I will eventually. I don't actually really know anything about these. I just picked them up because they're a very popular series and I thought I might enjoy it. Then we have Shauna McGuire. I own Every Heart a Doorway and Middle Game. I have read Every Heart a Doorway. I have also read one other in this series, but I don't remember which one. These are okay. I might continue the series, I might not. They're like 3-star reads for me. I think the second one I read was a 4-star, but they're just these short little fantasy novellas, and I don't personally get enough from them. I do like that they're short because every once in a while it's nice to have a short book, but they just don't really do it for me. Then I have Middle Game, which I have not picked up. Rachael Marie will smack me in the face if I don't pick this up eventually. I'm just kidding. She's too nice to smack me in the face, but you get my point. This is her book that she just shoves down people's throats. And from what I've heard, for good reason, it sounds very interesting and very good, but it seems like something that's going to take a lot of my focus and attention, and that's just not something I've had as much of as I would like lately. So I'm putting this off until I know that I can really give it the attention it deserves. The next on the list is The Poppy War by R.F. Kong. I have not read this, but I would really like to. I also don't own it, and I don't know a lot about it, but it's an adult fantasy that does interest me. Oh no! Okay, again with the, I read the first two, I haven't read the last one. Why do I do this? Somebody tell me what is the reason that I do this. Do you know what's wrong with my brain that I can't finish a goddamn series? These are young adult romances. They're cute, they're fun, they're not the best thing in the world. I liked the movies better than I liked the books. I read the first two, so I feel like I should just finish out the series. But apparently I can't ever do that, so those are all of the BookTube darlings I have or have not read. I own a lot of them that I haven't read, and apparently I can never finish any freaking series. So, thanks for calling me out, Rachel. But really, thank you to Rachel for putting this whole thing together, and I hope that some of you guys will either be able to donate or help spread the word, make your own videos, just have a good time. And I hope that you're all doing well with the way the world is right now, or at least getting by as best you can. Just enjoy the things you can, and we'll all get through this. I will see you guys next time.